Hold on to your hats, folks, because today we're about to enter a world of unbelievable creatures. Forget everything you thought you knew about the animal kingdom, because we're diving deep into the realm of the giants. Get ready to be amazed, shocked, and maybe even a little terrified as we count down 15 giant animals that defy logic. And the craziest part? They're real. Let's get started. 1. Knickers, the supersized steer. Picture this. You're strolling through a field in the outback, and you come across a cow that makes you feel small. That's Knickers, a steer who's become a legend in Australia and a viral sensation thanks to his unreal size. Knickers isn't your average bovine. He stands at a whopping 6 foot 4 inches tall and tips the scales at around 2,200 pounds. If that doesn't impress you, I don't know what will. But the coolest thing about Knickers isn't just his size, but the way he's become a star online and how his owner, Jeff Pearson, has handled his pet's unexpected fame. Knickers wasn't always famous. He was just another cow on Pearson's farm near Perth, Australia. But as he grew, his unbelievable size started grabbing attention from locals and the media. Now, you can't talk about Australia without someone mentioning Knickers. He's practically become a national icon. And honestly, it's no wonder that this four-legged giant has stolen the show. The funny thing is, despite his size, Knickers isn't aggressive at all. He's actually pretty chill. Pearson says his massive steer gets along great with the other cattle and that he's a pretty talkative cow. Yeah, you read that right. His owner says Knickers loves to make noise, which just adds to his already impressive presence. Knickers' impact on pop culture has been huge. Besides making headlines all over the world, he sparked a tidal wave of memes and jokes online. His fame has even sparked conversations about animal welfare and how livestock is treated, turning Pearson into an accidental advocate for animal rights in Australia. One of the most surprising things about Knickers is that, despite his size, he's still doing his job on the farm. Pearson uses him as a leader for the herd, and when Knickers moves, the other cows follow. It's like he's the big boss, and no one dares to question his authority. I mean, who's going to mess with a cow the size of a compact car? 2. Dutch Draft Horse, the gentle giant. Now we're diving into the world of giant horses, and not just any horse. Imagine seeing one of these majestic animals lumbering past you, muscles bulging like they just finished a workout at Equine Fitness. That's a Dutch Draft Horse. Huge, strong, and seriously impressive. Known as one of the largest horse breeds on the planet. These giants can weigh up to 1,763 pounds. That's basically the same as a Honda Civic. Can you even imagine? Unlike some other oversized animals, Dutch draft horses aren't just big. They're known for their calm personalities. These horses are as chill as they are ginormous, which is a relief, considering they could probably smash through a wall with a single kick if they felt like it. But they're peaceful and docile, which makes them ideal companions for heavy work, like plowing fields or pulling wagons. One reason this breed has been developed over the centuries is their ability to handle tasks that other horses just couldn't do. They're not just strong, they've got amazing stamina. Did you know that one of these horses can haul loads of up to 4,400 pounds without breaking a sweat? If there were an equine version of the Olympics, Dutch draft horses would be the Michael Phelps of their category. But what's really interesting about these animals is that, despite their immense size, they're incredibly gentle. A lot of people are intimidated at first, but once they get to know them, they find out they're just gentle giants. Dutch draft horses have a serene personality that makes them great to be around, which is a total contrast to their imposing appearance. In fact, if you're ever lucky enough to see one up close, you'll probably see it looking for a scratch or a treat. Who would have thought a creature that massive could be so friendly? 3. Big Jake, the world's tallest horse. If you've ever seen a horse and thought it was impressive, get ready to meet Big Jake, the tallest horse to ever walk the earth. Picture a horse that, without even lifting its head, stands at 6 foot 6 inches tall. That's Big Jake, a true living legend who holds the Guinness World Record for the tallest horse ever. Born on a farm in Poinet, Wisconsin, Big Jake isn't just big in size. He's big in personality too. This giant is a Belgian draft horse, known for being powerful draft animals, but none have ever achieved Big Jake's fame and glory. The most curious thing is that his life was not always marked by fame. Before being officially registered as the tallest horse in the world, Big Jake was simply a farm horse, although one that already left more than one speechless. It was in January 2010 when his name went into the record books after being officially measured without horseshoes. Since then, his life has been a continuous adventure, with thousands of people making a pilgrimage to the Smoky Hollow farm to see him in person. And it is no less to see Big Jake in his natural habitat is an experience that changes the perception of what large means. Standing, this imposing horse stands like a living tower. And when he rises on his hind legs, he can measure up to 7 foot 4 inches. It is like seeing an animal taken from a fantasy film. However, far from being an intimidating creature, Big Jake has shown to have a great connection with humans and enjoys the attention he receives from visitors, who cannot help but feel amazed at his presence. And children in particular are fascinated by this giant horse. 4. Hercules, the Liger King. If you've ever seen a lion or a tiger, you know they're imposing animals on their own. But what happens when you combine the two most majestic species in the feline kingdom? The result is Hercules, a liger who's earned the title of the world's largest cat. This natural giant is a mix of a lion and a tigress, and his size is simply astounding. Over 10 feet 11 inches long and weighs about 921 pounds. A real colossus. Hercules isn't just an anomaly in the animal kingdom. He's a spectacle. He lives at Myrtle Beach Safari, a wildlife sanctuary in South Carolina. There, he and other big cats are cared for and preserved, but no other animal there comes close to Hercules' magnitude. His size isn't just imposing, it's mesmerizing. When he strides through the safari, his presence alone is enough to make anyone's jaw drop. Hercules' daily life is as impressive as his size. This liger consumes almost 30 pounds of meat every day, about the average weight of a 2-year-old. And although he is a natural hunter, in the sanctuary he prefers to take life easy. He likes to swim, like many tigers, and enjoy the water, which is an uncommon pastime among big cats. One of the most fascinating characteristics of Hercules is that, despite being a hybrid, he has behaviors of both lions and tigers. On one hand, his dominant appearance is that of a lion with a less dense mane than that of a pure lion, but with the majesty of one. On the other hand, his body is marked with the characteristic stripes of a tiger, which gives it an even more extraordinary look. This impressive contrast between the characteristics of both species makes Hercules one of the most unique felines on the planet. Hercules has a peculiar family. He has a brother named Sinbad, who is a little taller, but not as heavy. He also has 4 nephews who were born in 2014, Yeti, Odin, Samson, and Apollo, the first known white ligers. Although Yeti is the largest of the 4, it has not yet been determined if he will become as majestic as his uncle Hercules. However, it is undeniable that the ligers of this family are destined to be creatures of epic proportions. 5. The Croc That Time Forgot. If you've ever seen a crocodile, you probably already know that they're intimidating creatures. Now imagine one that measures 18 feet long and weighs around 2,000 pounds. That's Uten, a colossal hybrid crocodile who has left his mark on history for being the largest crocodile in the world in captivity. This prehistoric beast is a mix between a saltwater crocodile and a Siamese crocodile and resides in Alligator Adventure, a park dedicated to reptiles located in North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Uten is not just another crocodile. He is a living legend. This gigantic reptile was born in 1964 at a crocodile farm outside of Bangkok, Thailand. From his birth, his enormous size was evident, which quickly made him one of the most impressive attractions on the farm. As he grew, it became clear that Uten was different from any other crocodile. His strength, size, and longevity turned him into a symbol of the greatness of crocodiles, animals that have been on Earth for millions of years, surviving all the natural catastrophes that have extinguished other prehistoric giants. 6. The Giant Spoonworm. Time to dive into the world of underwater creatures. And if you thought worms couldn't be impressive, Get ready to meet Eurychus unicinctus, better known as the giant spoonworm. Unlike the land animals we've been exploring, this unique marine critter lives in the depths of the ocean. And while it might not be as enormous as a horse or a steer in the worm world, Eurychus is a true giant, reaching up to a foot in length. A foot long. That's like taking a typical worm and multiplying it by 10. This spoon worm has a somewhat unpleasant appearance, with its cylindrical yellow-brown body that seems made for living in the muddy depths of its habitat. It lives in the Gulf of Bohai, China, and can also be found off the coasts of Japan and Korea. Unlike other worms you might have seen, this one doesn't crawl around on the surface. Eurychus is an expert burrower, spending most of its time buried in the sand and mud, searching for food in the organic debris that collects on the ocean floor. Yeah, its diet isn't exactly appetizing. These worms are detritivores, meaning they eat waste. Although at first glance, it does not seem like the type of creature that someone would want to find in certain regions of Asia, the giant spoonworm is considered a delicacy. Yes, these worms are consumed in Korea, where they are prepared in various ways: raw with salt and sesame oil, fried with vegetables, or even dried and turned into powder. Not only are they popular in Korea, but they are also distributed in Japan and other areas of the Pacific coast. Although for many in the world the idea of eating a worm is unthinkable, in these regions it is considered a delicacy, like other marine products. But they're not only a delicacy for humans, the Eurychus unicus are also highly valued by fishermen, who use them as bait to fish other larger species such as flounder and sea bream. Apparently these worms are irresistible for fish. What makes the giant spoonworm so fascinating is not only its size, but also the way it has managed to thrive in its extreme environment. They live in depths where sunlight barely reaches in days' temperatures and in conditions that other animals would find inhospitable. However, Eurychus has found a niche where it not only survives, but thrives. These worms not only dig to find food, they also do it to hide from possible predators, using the sand and mud as their shelter. 7. The Giant Capabra, the oversized rodent. When you think of rodents, you probably picture tiny mice or hamsters that fit in the palm of your hand. Now imagine one the size of a large dog, happily romping around your backyard. That's the capybara, the world's largest rodent and one of South America's most surprising creatures. These adorable giants can weigh up to 143 pounds and measure over 3 feet long. No, that's not an exaggeration. We're talking about a rodent so big that if you didn't know better, you'd think it was some kind of weird dog, or as many have said, a gigantic hamster. The capybara, also known as chigiro, is an animal so unique that you can't help but smile when you see it. With its rounded body, short fur, and always calm expression, the capybara has won the hearts of many people around the world. Despite their size, these rodents are incredibly docile, which has led many people in South America and beyond to adopt them as pets. Although it sounds incredible, it is not uncommon to see capybaras running through gardens or swimming in pools as if they were part of the family. One of the most fascinating aspects of the capybara is its love for water. These animals are semi-aquatic, which means they spend much of their time near lakes, rivers, and swamps. They are expert swimmers and can stay underwater for several minutes, which allows them to escape from predators or simply relax. For an animal that is so large, it is surprising how agile they are in the water, moving with a grace that hardly seems typical of a rodent. In addition, their ability to swim gives them an advantage in their natural habitat, where they depend on water not only to cool off, but also to hide from dangers. 8. Hulk, the Hulksized Pitbull. If there's one dog who's managed to capture the attention of the whole world, it's Hulk, the biggest pit bull ever. This impressive canine has been nicknamed the world's strongest dog, and with good reason. At just 17 months old, Hulk already weighed over 172 pounds, which is more than many adult humans. And he was still growing. It's not just his size that makes him extraordinary. It's also the fame he's achieved worldwide for being an absolutely massive version of what we generally imagine a pit bull to be. Hulk belongs to the American Pit Bull Terrier breed, a breed known for its strength and agility. However, While most pit bulls weigh around 66 pounds, Hulk has surpassed all limits. His imposing size has made many wonder if he is real. In fact, his owner Marlon Grannon, who runs the Dark Dynasty Canine Kennel in New Hampshire, USA, has had to deal with numerous questions about how Hulk has grown so large. But according to Grannon, there is no trick or secret. Hulk is simply an exceptional case, a pit bull who was born to break records. Despite his colossal size, Hulk is surprisingly docile. Grannon has said in multiple interviews that despite the reputation that pit bulls have, Hulk is incredibly affectionate and protective, especially with his human family. It is difficult to imagine that a dog this large can be so tender, but Hulk seems to defy all expectations. He is a true gentle giant who gets along very well with children and other animals, which has helped change the public perception of the pit bull breed. While his size may seem intimidating at first glance, Hulk demonstrates that stereotypes about these dogs are far from reality. 9. Darius, the giant rabbit. He's huge. If you've ever seen a rabbit hopping happily through a garden, you probably thought it was a small, cute, and cuddly animal. Now imagine a rabbit so big it could compete in size with a medium-sized dog. That's Darius, the world's largest rabbit, a true marvel of nature who has left many speechless. Weighing in at over 48 pounds and measuring 47 inches long, Darius is the rabbit who redefined what it means to be a giant bunny. He's not just a pet, he's practically a celebrity. Darius belongs to the continental giant rabbit breed, a species originally bred in Europe for meat. However, over time, these rabbits stopped being considered only as farm animals and became very popular pets due to their size, their docile character, and their impressive appearance. This furry giant lives in Worcestershire, England, and is cared for by Annette Edwards, his owner, who has been raising giant rabbits for years. Annette is not only used to having huge rabbits, but has raised several world records. However, none has been as iconic as Darius, who for years has held the title of being the largest rabbit in the world. Although Darius has already reached maturity, his son Jeff seems to be hot on his heels in terms of size and could snatch the title from him in the near future. 10. Zeus, the Great Dane Titan. This Great Dane who lived in Otsego, Michigan, not only broke records, but earned a place in the hearts of millions because of his impressive size and kind nature. With a height of 3 feet 10 inches from his paws to his shoulders and reaching 7 foot 4 inches when he stood on his hind legs, Zeus literally saw the world from a completely different perspective. Owned by the Doral family, Zeus was not the typical dog you would find on a walk through the park. In fact, his enormous size made him a local and later global celebrity. Weighing 154 pounds, Zeus was heavier than many adults, but despite his size, he was not an aggressive dog. On the contrary, his nature was calm and friendly, which made him a true gentle giant. He was known for his patience with children and his willingness to receive affection from all who knew him. Zeus's life was as unusual as his size. Instead of drinking water from a bowl like any other dog, Zeus preferred to drink directly from the kitchen tap. Yes, that's how tall he was. In fact, his height made it easier for him to simply approach the sink and drink from it, as if it were the most normal thing in the world. 11. The giant deserta wolf spider. Not for the faint of heart. Native to Madeira Island, Portugal, this species is one of the largest spiders in the world and definitely one of the most impressive in size. With a body that can reach up to 6 inches long, the deserta wolf spider is the kind of creature that can leave you paralyzed if you come across it face to face, but strangely enough, its size is not the only fascinating thing about this spider. What makes it even more interesting is its lifestyle and how it hunts. Unlike many spiders that build webs to trap their prey, the deserta wolf spider prefers a more active approach. Just like a wolf, this spider hunts its prey by chasing it across the ground. Its long legs, which have white spots that look like little socks, allow it to move at high speed and pounce on its target before it has a chance to escape. This aggressive hunting style has earned it its wolf name, as it behaves like one, stalking and capturing its prey with precision and speed. 12. Goliath Frog, a jaws-dropping amphibian. When we hear about frogs, the image that usually comes to mind is that of a small, jumping amphibian that fits in the palm of a hand. However, the Goliath Frog completely changes this perception, since it is the largest frog in the world. This colossus of the African rivers can reach a size that defies the imagination, measuring up to 13 inches long and weighing more than 6.5 pounds. To give you an idea, that is almost the size of a domestic cat. Yes, you read that right. A frog the size of a cat is difficult to believe, but this creature is as real as it is imposing. The Goliath Frog, also known as Conrad Goliath, is native to West Africa, specifically Cameroon and Equatorial Guinea, where it inhabits fast-flowing rivers that run through the rainforests. These rivers provide the perfect environment for this giant frog, with clean and oxygenated waters, which is essential for its survival. Despite its large size, the Goliath Frog is incredibly agile in the water, which allows it to move easily in search of food and shelter. Unlike many smaller frogs that feed on insects and small invertebrates, the Goliath Frog's diet is as impressive as its size. This frog feeds on virtually anything it can catch, including other frogs, large insects, crustaceans, and even small rodents and birds. Seeing a Goliath Frog in action is like witnessing a mini predator in full hunt. But the most amazing thing about this frog is not only its diet or size, but also its life cycle. 13. The Japanese spider crab, a real alien from the deep. The Japanese spider crab, Macrocheira camphori, is without a doubt the king of the marine arthropods, with a leg span that can reach up to 12 feet. This crab looks more like a creature from a science fiction movie than a real inhabitant of the depths of the ocean. It lives in the waters surrounding Japan, and its size is so impressive that even those who are accustomed to the seas are amazed to see it, despite its intimidating appearance. The Japanese spider crab is actually a fairly docile giant. It is not an aggressive predator and does not pose a threat to humans, although seeing it in person can cause an impact. Its relatively small central body compared to its huge legs measures about 16 inches wide, but it is when it unfolds those very long legs that its true majesty is revealed. They're like the long legs of a spider, which gives it its name, but still on a titanic scale. 14. Medusa, the real-life serpent queen. Prepare to meet Medusa, a snake who holds the title of the longest snake in the world in captivity. No, it's not a myth or a Greek legend. Medusa is a reticulated python who measures the amazing length of 25 feet 2 inches, which makes her a creature that seems straight out of the most incredible stories about giant monsters. But unlike the creatures of mythology, Medusa is real and lives in Kansas City, Missouri, where she has become a real attraction for those who dare to visit her. Medusa is a reticulated python, a species of snake that in itself is known to be the longest in the world. However, Medusa has exceeded all expectations, earning a place in the Guinness Book of Records for her incredible size. Weighing 348 pounds, Medusa is a snake that when rolled up takes up more space than a double bed. Most people couldn't even imagine what it's like to be in the same room as a snake of this size. But in her home, an attraction known as the Edge of Hell Haunted House, Medusa is the undisputed queen. What makes Medusa even more interesting is that she doesn't just limit herself to being a passive exhibition. Often this snake is an active part of the haunted house show, interacting with visitors, which adds an extra touch of terror to the experience. Imagine walking through a haunted house and bumping into a snake that can measure more than 23 feet. It is definitely a scene that will be etched in your memory, and it is no less. Medusa has the ability to generate fear in anyone, but also awakens an irresistible curiosity. 15. Lurch, the steer with the killer horns. Get ready to meet Lurch, a steer who takes the word huge to a whole new level. Not so much because of his body size, but because of something even more incredible: his horns. This Ankle-Watusi steer has the largest horns ever recorded in history. You heard that right. His horns are so massive that each one weighs around 100 pounds and measures almost 5 feet from tip to tip. Imagine carrying that around on your head every day. Lurch is definitely a creature who defies logic and the laws of physics. The Ankle-Watusi are known as the cattle of kings, because of their impressive appearance and their history tied to African tribes where they are considered a symbol of power and prestige. But Lurch, born in the United States, has taken that fame to another level thanks to his horns that are so gigantic that they honestly seem from another world. His owner Janice Wolfe has said on several occasions that she feels a little bad for him, since his horns are so huge that one can only imagine how uncomfortable it must be for him to walk among the trees or simply move without tripping over something. Despite what you might think when seeing Lurch, he takes his life calmly. He is a relatively calm and very friendly steer, which makes him even more surprising considering that he carries what could well be an adornment of some mythological god on his head. His docile nature has allowed him not only to gain popularity in the media and events, but also to live a quiet life on the far with other animals. Their horns are not only long, they are also incredibly heavy, which has made the veterinarians who care for him examine him constantly to ensure that his health is not affected by wearing that immense natural hat. And carrying 198 pounds only in horns is not an easy task for any animal. The reason why Lurch has captured so much attention is not only because of the world record he holds, but also because of the curiosity generated by people who see him for the first time, who cannot help but stare at those horns wondering how it is possible that they exist. And of course, Lurch has appeared in all kinds of programs and documentaries, becoming an animated celebrity. It is rare for an animal to become famous for a specific part of its anatomy, but Lurch is the exception to that rule. So what do you think? Mind-blowing, right? These colossal creatures prove that the world is full of surprises. Let me know in the comments which giant animal shocked you the most. And if you're hungry for more incredible animal facts and mind-bending discoveries, be sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. We got plenty more jaw-dropping content coming your way. Thanks for joining the adventure, and I'll catch you in the next video.